What's up, fantasy managers? Welcome back to another episode of the First Pitch Podcast brought to you by PitcherList.com. My name is Jake Crumpler, and I'll be your host for this edition of the pod. You can follow me on socials at Jake Crumpler and can find all of my work at CrumplerBaseball.com. Let's dive into everything baseball related from Sunday, June 7th. We'll start it off, as always, with the transactions, injuries, news, and notes from around the league, kicking things off with the bad news as starting pitcher Jack Kohanowitz was placed on the 15-day IL with elbow inflammation. Kohanowitz will miss at least the next 2 weeks, and it's been a rough past few weeks for Kohanowitz as he's pitched to an 11.5 ERA across his last 6 starts, and he said that his elbow has been bothering him for his last 3. So the results definitely make sense if that's the case. Starting pitcher Sam Aldeguerri was recalled from the minors in a corresponding move and should replace Kohanowitz in the Angels rotation. In terms of transactions, Joe Stinson Garcia was optioned to the minors by the Pirates after struggling to a 32 WRC plus in his first taste of the majors in the National League with Pittsburgh. Shortstop Davis Wenzel was selected from the minors in a corresponding move and will be a utility bench bat for the Pirates moving forward. Next, starting pitcher Rhett Lauder was activated from the 15-day IL after missing close to a month with shoulder discomfort. He started in St. Louis, tossing 3 scoreless innings, allowing 1 hit while walking 5 and striking out 4. He induced 6 whiffs with 26% CSW across 70 pitches, and Lauder struggled to throw strikes with all of his pitches, all of them falling under 60% strikes and most of them under 50% strikes. So we're going to have to wait a little until Lauder becomes that command, focus, sinker guy that we can trust against as a streamer against the lowest level of offenses. Lauder will get the Diamondbacks next, and I don't think that counts, especially because that will be in Great American Ballpark. Reliever Luis May was optioned to the minors in a corresponding move. And lastly, outfielder Max Kepler signed a major league contract with the Arizona Diamondbacks. He was suspended for performance-enhancing drugs in the offseason, and his suspension will conclude on June 24th, making Kepler a candidate to join the Diamondbacks outfield in July. In terms of news, shortstop Connor Griffin, who's out with a flexor mass muscle strain, there's an update on the injury is what it is for Connor Griffin. The location of his injury has changed. I don't think that means the injury is moving around. I think it was likely a misdiagnosis. And given the exact spot of Griffin's injury, the Pirates will be more conservative on his timeline. He's asymptomatic at this point, but Griffin won't be coming back as soon as originally thought, so he won't be an immediate activation when first eligible to return from the IL this week. So we could see Connor Griffin back, I think, in, I'd guess, a week and a half or 2 weeks from now. Next, starting pitcher Jake Bennett was scratched from his AAA start for the Red Sox, and he's an obvious choice to replace Brian Bayo in the Boston rotation. Outfielder Victor Scott II is expected to be optioned to the minors by the Cardinals, and it makes sense with the return of Lars Nootbaar taking away playing time in the outfield, as well as Scott's offensive struggles the entire season. Next, shortstop Denzer Guzman is expected to be promoted by the Angels. He's the Angels' number 7 prospect. This won't be his debut. He did debut last season, but he's made huge strides in the strikeout department, dropping his strikeout rate down to 18%, leading to a .336 average, 12 homers, 9 steals, and a 136 WRC plus as a 22-year-old at AAA. That's Denzer Guzman. I don't know where he's going to play for the Angels. There's definitely playing time there. I think they got Donovan Walton playing every day at second base and, stuff going on at third base. So maybe there is playing time in that infield for Guzman. Definitely a high upside guy that could come up and help that Angels lineup. And lastly, starting pitcher Jamison Tyone is expected to be placed on the 15-day IL with a hamstring strain. Now we can take a look at our notable performances from Sunday, a day in which we had a full slate of 15 games. We'll start it off with our hitters, leading off with outfielder Carson Benge, who helped the Mets to win in San Diego, going 5 for 5 with 3 runs, a triple, a home run, and 2 runs batted in. It was his 7th home run of the year, and Benge is in the leadoff spot for the Mets. He's been batting so much better recently, and he became the 3rd youngest Met with 5+ hits in a game behind John Milner in 1972 and Jose Reyes in 2006. Benge is also one of 5 Mets rookies with 5 or more hits and a homer in a game, joining Pete Alonso in 2019, Alex Ochoa in 1996, and John Milner in 1972. That's 4 names. I don't know what happened to the 5th one, if I missed it, or if Maybe it was just 4. I think it was 5, and I missed one of the names. Regardless, Benge is in elite territory among young Mets hitters. All of these stats were courtesy of Sarah Langs at Slangs on Sports on X. Next, catcher Sebastian Rivero helped the Angels to win in Hollywood, going 5 for 5 with a run, a double, and 6 runs batted in. This is just the 4th multi-hit game of Rivero's career, and it's his first time with more than 2 hits in a game, and he got all the way up to 5 hits, all but one of them being a single. The 6 RBIs are only 2 less than he had in his entire career entering this game. So he had 8 RBI entering Sunday and came away with 14 on his career. Rivero is the backup catcher for the Angels and has just 2 extra base hits on the year with the 524 OPS even after this career performance. Rivero won't be fantasy relevant without significant improvement at the plate and injuries awarding him playing time in LA. And lastly, shortstop Matt McLain did all he could, but the Reds lost in St. Louis. He went 2 for 4 with 2 runs, 2 home runs, and 2 runs batted in. He's up to 8 homers on the year now. The first one traveled 411 feet at 104 miles per hour, and the second one went 405 feet at 102 miles per hour. There was increased interest in McLain despite a huge step back in his sophomore campaign in which strikeouts caught up with him, leading to a 220 average and a 77 WRC+. But McLain still produced power speed numbers with 15 homers and 18 steals, making him, somewhat fantasy relevant, at least in deep 15-team leagues. The increased interest in McLain this offseason was a result of a hot spring during which he batted .509 with 7 homers. It was unlike anything we'd seen from him, and he was worth the shot given how late he was going in drafts. Unfortunately, it's just been a repeat of last year, despite a huge improvement to his plate discipline and contact, leading to career highs in zone contact rate, walk rate, and strikeout rate. McLain's batting just .206 with 8 homers and 7 steals and a WRC plus nearly 20 points below league average. But I think there's potential for McLain to become a league average hitter due to that improved plate discipline and contact combined with increased power potential stemming from a career high max exit velocity at 110.5 miles per hour and increased average bat speed up to 71.6 miles per hour. Just don't expect Great American Ballpark to carry McLain to the near 130 WRC plus he had in his half season as a rookie. But if you'd like a breakdown of other notable hitting performances from Sunday, check out the daily Batters Box article over on pitcherlist.com. Now we'll head to the mound and check out some notable starting pitching performances, opening with Ranger Suarez, who helped the Red Sox to win in New York against the Yankees, tossing 6 1/3 innings, allowing 6 hits and 1 earned run, walking nobody while striking out 6. He induced 17 whiffs with 34% CSW across 90 pitches and earned the golden goal as he led baseball with 17 whiffs to earn the Gallows pull and earn the King Cole by leading baseball with that 34% CSW. Suarez got back on track with the command of his trio of fastball variants. Yes, he struck out 10 batters last time, but he did allow 4 runs. So the ratios were back under control here. And that was thanks to the command of his trio of fastballs while he continued to break off effective curveballs. However, I'll continue to be wary of Suarez without his changeup showing up. It's been gone all season, and he threw it just 4 times here. Suarez is a command-focused arm, so when he's got a feel for 3 to 4 pitches, he can dice up any lineup. I'd say roll the dice versus the Rangers next, but like I said, I don't think he's somebody that is going to be super consistent all year because we haven't seen that changeup show up, and it was such a huge weapon for him over the past few years. Next, we have Gage Jump, who helped the A's to win in Houston, tossing 6 1/3 shutout innings, allowing 3 hits, 3 walks while striking out 3. He induced 12 whiffs with 25% CSW across 96 pitches. And that's now 2 good starts in a row for Jump after an underwhelming debut. And everyone's considering picking him up, but I'm still not completely sold. My concerns weren't quelled as he still failed to command his breakers. Despite strike rates north of 60%, they were all over the place, failing to execute the preferred intent downstairs. Additionally, as a lefty who will face mostly right-handed batters, it's been disappointing to see Jump's changeup fail to step up as he has 0 feel for the slow ball. This is just all fastballs from Jump. And while it's a dope pitch at 96 to 97 miles per hour with 17 inches of IVB and a flat attack angle, I don't think it's enough to survive on its own. Its lack of support will continue to lead to a poor strikeout to walk ratio as we see the low strike rates on his secondaries lead to more walks, and the lack of support from the secondaries making it more difficult for him to rack up the strikeouts with his fastball. The real game changer for why I'm not totally sold on Jump is the terrible home park in Sacramento. I'm totally fine streaming him consistently on the road with the stable floor of his heater, needing minimal support from his breakers to find a decent amount of success, but I don't think he's worth holding until we see improvement in the command of his secondaries, because that home ballpark is going to be one that we're going to want to avoid against most offenses. And I say most because it's Rocky Road up next. He'll get the Rockies in Sacramento, and it may be worth your time given how poor that lineup is, but don't be surprised if he walks the yard or serves up multiple dingers while trying to force fastballs down the Rockies' throats. That's Gage Jump. And lastly, we have Noah Cameron, who helped the Royals to win in Minnesota, tossing 6 shutout innings, allowing just 3 hits, walking nobody while striking out 7. He induced 12 whiffs with 28% CSW across 104 pitches, and Cameron has had excellent command recently, now sporting a 1.80 ERA, a 0.67 whip, and a 28% strikeout rate across his last 5 starts. The success continued in Minnesota, but locations weren't as pristine, as changeups and curveballs were all over the place, but it didn't matter as the slow ball thrived in the zone 70% of the time for 5 whiffs and 37% CSW, while four-seamers arm side and cutters glove side made up for the poor changeup locations and the curveball's inability to find the zone. We've seen Cameron display prolonged success when he has the feel for his main 4 offerings. He was incredible for his entire rookie season last year, and I'd expect this success to continue versus the Astros next. But if you'd like a breakdown of every single start from Sunday, give the Plus Pitch podcast a listen and check out Nick's daily SP roundup over on pitcherlist.com. Now we'll head to the bullpen and check out the relievers that got saves and the closers that pitched outside of save situations or blew their saves. Dylan Smith recorded his first save with a perfect 10th. Keaton Winn pitched a scoreless 9th in a tie game to earn his second win in that one. Didier Fuentes also recorded his first save with a scoreless 9th. Raisel Iglesias was unavailable after pitching back-to-back days. I'm not sure why Robert Suarez was used, but it didn't matter as Fuentes got the job done. Louis Varland had a scoreless 4-out save for his 11th save of the season. Anthony Bender pitched a scoreless 9th for his second save of the year, as Pete Fairbanks was unavailable after throwing 39 pitches on Saturday. Lucas Erceg got the final 2 outs of the game to escape a jam created by Beck Way to record his 12th save of the year. Apparently, Alex Lang and Daniel Lynch were unavailable after pitching in 3 of the previous 4 days. Otherwise, I would say Matt Cotrero needs to lose his job, because you got to keep Lucas Erceg out of the 9th inning right now. He has been terrible. And lastly, Riley O'Brien recorded his 17th save with a scoreless 9th. In terms of closers to pitch outside of save situations or blow their saves, Daniel Palencia pitched a perfect 9th in a tie game the Cubs would lose in 10 innings. David Bednar pitched a perfect 9th with a 5-run lead after the Yankees scored 5 runs to take the lead in the 8th inning. Rico Garcia finished off the 7th and allowed a solo homer in the 8th with the Orioles trailing. He hadn't pitched since last Tuesday, so this was a maintenance outing for Rico Garcia. Will Vest pitched a scoreless 9th in a tie game and earned his second win when the Tigers walked it off against Andres Munoz, who allowed 2 runs pitching the 9th in a tie game to blow his 5th save and take his 4th loss. I guess if he had a blown save, then it wasn't a tie game. Maybe he started the inning prior. That makes more sense to me if he was able to pitch enough innings. I think he got 3 outs, but I don't think he got all 3 outs of the ninth. That makes a lot more sense. Andres Munoz, though, struggling still. 5th blown save and 4th loss for Munoz. And lastly, Devin Williams allowed a run while pitching the 9th up by 5. He hadn't pitched since last Monday, so this was a maintenance outing for Devin Williams. But if you'd like more information on relief pitchers, check out Rick Graham's daily articles over on pitcherlist.com. And before we look forward to today's games, we're going to take a quick break. Now we'll look forward to Monday, June 8th, a day in which we'll have just 8 games on the slate. My matchup of the day is Will Warren versus Gavin Williams. It's a decent pitching matchup, as Gavin Williams has the ceiling to go absolutely off against any lineup, but he also doesn't have a great floor. If he doesn't have his command working, he could get blown up. While Warren is somebody that I see is on the downturn of his good start to the season, as he still has not found the secondaries to support his fastballs, and his 4-seamer is going the same direction of Emerson Hancock's as the IVB on that 4-seamer continues to drop. So we'll see if Warren can keep it going against the Guardians. In terms of probable starters, we've got 4 guys in the auto starts tier, including Christopher Sanchez in Toronto, Kyle Harrison in Sacramento, Connolly Early in Tampa Bay, and Logan Webb versus the Nationals. Our probably starts tier has 5 guys, and our questionable starts tier has 0. So that means we're going to be looking in the do not start tier for our streamer of the day. There's 7 guys in that tier, and our streamer of the day is Grayson Rodriguez versus the Astros. I mean, that's like one of the dirtiest coin flips ever. That's like finding a coin on the side of the road that's like stuck to the asphalt with gum or something, and you take that coin up and you flip that coin and you just hope that it lands on whatever the good side is, probably the side without gum on it. But regardless, Grayson Rodriguez has proven once that he can get the job done. Otherwise, he's looked terrible. I would not take the chance there. If you're so desperate and Grayson Rodriguez is somehow taken, maybe keep an eye out for Walker Buehler versus the Reds. It's the Reds outside of Great American Ballpark, so it's probably the best roll of the dice there with the Reds on the road. But Walker Buehler is another guy who doesn't really have the overwhelming stuff that you can trust in any given start. But the matchup isn't awful in San Diego. However, it is in the do not start tier, so I wouldn't suggest starting Rodriguez or Buehler. If you're looking for a pitcher with an opener, Mason Englert will have an opener versus the Red Sox. He's also in the do not starts tier, though. In terms of hitter suggestions, I look at Giants hitters versus Miles Mikolas in Oracle Park, as he's got a 6.39 ERA on the season. I'd also target Mariners hitters versus Chris Bassett in Oriole Park. He's got a 5.27 ERA on the season. I'd also look at Astros hitters versus the aforementioned Grayson Rodriguez in Angel Stadium. He has a 9.5 ERA on the season. So, yeah, definitely want to target batters against him. And lastly, I target Brewers and A's hitters in Sutter Health Park. It's one of the best hitters parks in baseball. We'll see a pair of southpaws square off in Kyle Harrison versus Jeffrey Springs. So target right-handed hitters on the Brewers and A's. Now we'll close things out with our relievers to watch. Louis Varland has pitched on back-to-back days and in 3 of the past 4, but so has Tyler Rogers. So if the Blue Jays are unwilling to trust Jeff Hoffman, who I still think is going to bounce back very strong for the rest of the year, maybe they go with Braden Fisher. Sam Moll and Tony Santillan have both pitched on back-to-back days, so maybe the Reds go with Brock Burke or TJ Antone for a save chance on Monday. And lastly, Keaton Winn has pitched in back-to-back days, but so have Eric Miller and Caleb Killian. Killian's thrown the fewest pitches of this closer committee for the Giants, but maybe they turn to Dylan Smith again after he got a save here in the extra innings on Sunday, or Sam Hentges against a lefty-heavy 9th inning. But that'll do it for today's episode of the First Pitch Podcast. Make sure to head on over to pitcherlist.com to check out all of the great articles and features we have on the site. Sign up for PL Plus or PL Pro to gain access to the Discord and to support the Pitcher List staff. You can follow me on socials at Jake Crumpler, where I do daily SB streamers and I break down every single start via the Pitcher List stats player cards. Tune into YouTube tomorrow and every day for a new installment of the podcast, and make sure to enjoy the day as we are blessed with another day of baseball.